Today we're going to be rating the Dark. We're going to look back on some of the most iconic cards and really old cards in Magic the Gathering. We're going to start off with Apprentice Wizard. It's a blue 1 generic 0/1 wizard. Sort of looks like Gandalf. And you know what? The closer you get back into Magic the Gathering's history, a lot more that they actually just take direct inspiration from Lord of the Rings. It's a human wizard, so that's how it's errated. But it's got a very bizarre ability. We got a blue and a tap. Add 3 to your mana pool. This ability is played as an interrupt, but by today's standards, it is just pay a blue, tap, add 3 colors to your mana pool. I don't know what to say. I don't know. This is probably the only way you could actually cast some of those gigantic, stupid cards like Leviathan. You know, forget actually playing lands every single turn. Get your Apprentice Wizard out. It's ramp. And it's a really bizarre card, like basically breaking the color pie. Blue sorta does this stuff by today, but not really. They don't give you the ability to ramp so easily. Yeah, this is just 3 mana and basically tap, add like 2 colorless. Yeah, it's like it's not like a blue ritual. It's more like a blue elf. Because a ritual is a one-time done deal. In this case, you perpetually get that 3 mana, or that you net 2 mana every single turn. Yeah, artifact ramp. Well, it's colorless mana. I mean, you could ramp out the Eldrazi's. Not that there were any Eldrazi's back then, or not that they knew of. You can cast really big, expensive blue spells. Not like that. It says you can only play. Pay this colorless mana on just colorless cards. Power Sync loves this. Yes, Power Sync people to death. The color pie was made to be broken. I don't think there just wasn't a pie. It was just like it was like Lego all over the floor. And then these days, you know, they've separated the Lego pieces into their own factions about what Lego pieces are allowed to fit where and do what. So yeah, anyway, Apprentice Wizard, by today's standards, absolute garbage. Did not stand the test of time. Okay, we got Larry Law with Mana Clash. Was that from the Dark? I'll know in a second. There's many printings, but the OG printing was from the Dark. Alright, we got a red sorcery. You and target opponent each flip a coin. Mana Clash deals 1 damage to each player whose coin comes up heads. Repeat this process until both players' coins come up heads on the same flip. So what are the odds? The odds of it's 50-50, 50 times 50-50. It's 0.25, right? Those are the odds that both of them happen. So what is the average amount of damage that each player is going to deal to each other? There's 25% chance, so I guess you might flip. I don't want to say anything. I might look stupid to the statisticians out there. So hey, Mana Clash, completely useless. Yeah, by today, no one would play this. I don't know, unless you have Krark's Thumb, or no, Krark's Thumb wouldn't help. Because you just repeat the process until you both get the same thing. So you have to basically have a rigged coin to always flip heads and always flip tails when your opponent flips one or the other. This has to be at least one game where this killed a dude 20. I mean, that is true. Statistically, somebody gonna die to this thing. Krark's Thumb could keep this going for a while. Well, maybe not, because, like, I don't think it changes anything. If you flip a coin, flip twice, repeat this process until a coin comes up heads at the same time. I think adding more coin like, everything ends when you both have the same flip. And it has to be heads. This can be a 1-turn kill if you if you have insane luck. But here's the thing, you need to have a rigged coin, but you also need to give your opponent a rigged coin. I guess what you need to do is you give yourself a coin that always flips heads, you give your opponent the coin that always flips tails, and it's GG. It's like, imagine somebody that was just winning tournaments over and over and over again with Mana Clash, and eventually, well, we discovered that these coins are rigged. Completely rigged. I actually, well, I don't want to make too much mention of it, but like, probably rigging dice is probably a cheat that is undiscovered or undetermined at the moment. I have a feeling that there's a lot of rigged dice out there that people just don't know about. Alright, let's go to the super chats. We got Andrew ML here with Season of the Witch. The card is so confusing, not even Wizards knows how it works. Alright then. Ah, it's one of those cards, one of the Chains of Mephistopheles sort of brain twisters. Alright, black, black, black for an enchantment. At the end of each player's turn, all of his or her untapped creatures that could have attacked, but did not, are destroyed. Okay, and if you do not pay 2 life during your upkeep, Season of the Witch is destroyed. Effects that prevent or redirect damage may not be used to counter this loss of life. If I understand it, I'm like, if you could attack with something and you don't, then it just gets blown up, right? Just go poof, it's gone, and it's got a cumulative upkeep of 2 life. So now, okay, let's read the flavor. Let's read the Oracle text. At the beginning of your upkeep, sack Season of the Witch unless you pay 2 life. There we go. So it's an upkeep that you have to pay. Like Glacial Chasm. At the beginning of each end step, destroy all untapped creatures that didn't attack this turn, except for creatures that couldn't. Except for, oh, it changes. Except for creatures that, oh yeah, except for creatures that couldn't attack, but that's just how it was. So if you have Vigilance, it's broken, right? You just have Vigilance with Season of the Witch, and it's over. Because that's I mean, that's basically it. Destroy all untapped creatures that didn't attack this turn. But I might have an untapped creature that did attack. That's basically the combo. How much does this cost? It would be good for Ishin. It's 34 bucks, and it is part of the reserve list. So get them while they're cheap. 34 bucks is a steal these days for reserve list cards. One day Vigilance will completely break this in half. And then it will be over. All right, next super chat we got Tim. Fellware Stone. Was that from the dark? Well, I'm assuming you guys do your research before you give me these suggestions. It was from the dark. 2 generic for an artifact. Tab, add 1 mana to your mana pool. This mana may be of any color that any of opponent's lands can produce. This ability is played as an interrupt. By today's standard, this is like a commander staple because like you have so many people around. It basically says 2 mana, add 1 mana of any color. What are the odds that nobody is playing, like what are the odds people are playing less than 5 colors in your pool, in your pod? Not good odds. It's gonna add at least 4 mana. Unless you're up against 3 mono blue players, which in that case you probably should be inviting less of those players to your game. Unless it's me. There's gotta be at least one mono blue player, and that could be me. I don't know. So what do you have that I cannot obtain? Marisol called the Pretender. Actually looks like an AI generated flavor text. No wonder the AI flavor text is so bizarre. They're just taking inspiration from these old flavor texts. Alright, next we got Alpha Nerd here. Thank you very much. Was Breeding Pit from the dark? Again, people not doing, nope, that was Fallen Empire. We did that one already. We did Fallen Empires. We got Arethusa with Tormod's Crypt. That one, so we're gonna give Farewell Stone has actually stood the test of time. All right, next we're gonna go with Tormod's Crypt. And I like the OG image for Tormod's Crypt. Where is? Oh, I have to see all prints. I like the OG image for Tormod's Crypt. I think it's actually one of the better ones. So tap, sack Tormod's Crypt to remove all cards in target player's graveyard from the game. Still sees play today. So that's a cool thing about the Dark, is if you go through the whole set, there are so many cards from back then that are still very playable in today's metagame, in today's standards. So there's actually a lot that have stood the test of time. The Dark opening seemed to breathe the cold, damp air of the dead, earth in a steady rhythm. Oh, done by Christopher Resch. And he's dead now, so you got signatures of those, they're gonna age like wine. OG Tormod's Crypt art was my PC background growing up. Alright, sweet stuff. Let's go look at, oh god, Shen Fred, Sorrow's Path. Famous for all the wrong reasons. Sorrow's Path. did not stand the test of time, is now the laughing stock of this set. It's a land. And I have to say, I do miss one thing that the Dark had going for it. Let's look at the Dark cards. So the one thing the Dark had going for it, a mechanic that I really enjoyed, that they got rid of, were abilities on lands that did not add mana. I think that is so cool. Things like Maze of Ith, Thawing Glaciers. I mean, I don't like facing down a Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale, or but like, I like the design. I like the idea that you can have some cool abilities on lands, and it costs you your land drop, but it has some really good ability. Except in the case of Sorrow's Path, where the ability ends up being devastatingly terrible. Okay, tap. Exchange 2 of opponent's blocking creatures. This exchange may not cause an illegal block. However, Sorrow's Path will deal 2 damage to you and 2 damage to each creature you control whenever it is tapped. That is absolutely disgusting. It will pyroclasm your board in exchange for trying to make your opponent's blocks a little bit more awkward. Yeah, so definitely on the top. Some people debate that this is the worst card ever printed. It is in a lot of top 10 lists, or top cards of deeply problematic, crappy cards. So it is iconic, but for the wrong reasons. And probably, I don't know, at what point did people start remembering about Sorrow's Path? I think this is a card left in dust in time, and has just been brought to light in recent years. Because, you know, people are digging into the past looking for terrible cards. Alright, we got Alpha Nerd. With Dance of the Men. Did we do that one? Dance of the... something? Oh, but do you mean Dance of the Dead? It's not the Dark. Anyway, thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. But Alpha Nerd, look up these cards. Okay, next up, we're going to look up Maze of Ith. See, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I am talking about, but we need to look at the OG one. Very bizarre image. Does it even look like a maze? It looks like Intestine World. Like we're looking from space. Here's the intestines. There's some tentacles hanging out of there. A little bit disgusting. But anyway, if you get into if you get Intestinal World, you will be lost because the land says tap, target attacking creature becomes untapped. Its creature neither deals nor receives combat damage as a result of combat. It just takes it out of combat. So basically a land that will deal with effectively any creature on the battlefield, as long as it didn't have an attack trigger, because the attack trigger will still, you know, it'll still happen. Still being played today in Legacy lands. I think this is still a Commander All-Star. If you are sitting back with Maze of Ith, you know, like, no one's gonna really want to attack you because they're just gonna waste their attack. You're guarded by the Maze of Ith. And also back then they had a lot more room to make lands like this because there was Strip Mine. There was Strip. I think there was just Strip Mine. They had just had that. Dancing says, just skipped welding school today to see if the stream, and also it's supposed to be over 90 degrees today. I don't want to sweat to death. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, don't sweat to death. Stay here and watch the stream. But also don't skip too much school. Okay, Frozen says... Frozen hated this set. There's a lot of iconic cards that are a beating to us in our... beating in combat. Maze of Ith is also solid in cube. Oh yeah, Merfolk Assassin. Okay, so hold on. Maze of Ith gets the pass. Christopher B with Merfolk Assassin. Now this is really weird. Here's some weird trivia for you. This is the 3rd Merfolk ever printed. I kid you not. And it's a really BS card because it's blue, 1/2. It's a Merfolk Assassin. Tap, destroy target creature with Island Walk. Now, I guess that kills other blue creatures that exist. Lord of Atlantis literally gave Island Walk to one creature, and that was Merfolk of the Pearl Trident, which is at a 1/1 blue Merfolk for 1 mana. So it sort of looks like Merfolk Assassin's job is to only kill Merfolk of the Pearl Tridents. But, yeah, there's other blue creatures with Island Walk. Yeah, Merfolk Assassin. You can now have 3 Merfolk in your deck. You could also have Merfolk Assassins kill other Merfolk Assassins if you put your Lord of Atlantis in play. Because it gave all other Merfolk +1/+1 an Island Walk. Why does he kill Merfolk, but there's a pirate ship? Well, he doesn't necessarily kill... That's the thing. He doesn't necessarily kill Merfolk. It probably could kill Merfolk. But there's like all sorts of ships with Island Walk and so on. Okay, oh, was it Dance of Many? Maybe it was Dance of Many. Oh, that was the super chat. All right, so we're going to honor your super chat. Who was it? Alpha Nerd. Oh, you said Dance of the Many. Oh, yeah, it was Dance of Many. Thank you very much, Alpha Nerd. We figured it out. We figured it out. So that just goes to show how important it is to have the accurate name of the card. All right, we got blue enchantment. When Dance of Many enters the battlefield, put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of target non-token creature. When Dance of Many leaves the battlefield, exile the creature token. When the creature token leaves the battlefield, sacrifice Dance of Many. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Dance of Many unless you pay blue. None of those cards really stood the test of time. Like that you have to, I don't know, like these days, are there any cards where you pay the upkeep cost of like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 mana and it's like good and it's like really broken enough to play? I don't think so. That's just such a beating. And it's not even that good of a card. Enters the battlefield to create a token that's a copy of target non-token creature. Leaves the battlefield, exile the token. So when the token leaves, you lose it. And then if you don't pay the upkeep cost, you lose. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Dance of Many. Yeah, so if you lose one, you lose both, effectively. And I would say this card did not stand the test of time at all. I don't even think anyone uses this thing. These days, if you have like 2 or more mana, you just steal the creature from somebody else. Alright, next up we got Tim with Elves of the Deep Shadow. I used this a lot in my Sultai Dredge deck when EDH first hit the scene. I can't remember. There's something that uses this card. This is also like a Cube All-Star, if I remember correctly. It's a green 1/1 elf. Tap, add a black to your mana pool, and Elves of Deep Shadow will do 1 damage to you. Yeah, it's just basically, it just tap for a black, deals a damage to you. They are aberrations who have turned on everything we hold sacred. Let them be cast out. But I don't know exactly what the hell would play this thing by today's standards. What happened to you if Mana Burn got you to the Fallen? I don't get it. Anyone else playing Elves of Deep Shadow out there? I guess not. I don't hear any takers. All right. Oh, Marcelo. The Ball Lightning. That's an iconic card. This is where it started. I mean, this was like one of the few red cards that brought red back to prominence. Like, all of a sudden, between the Ball Lightnings and like the Incinerates and like the Lightning Bolts, you got a little bit of a deck here, just full of red cards. Okay, red, 6/1, trample. Ball Lightning may attack. Basically, Ball Lightning has haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Ball Lightning. But, you know, if your opponent doesn't have anything in front of you, basically you effectively deal 6 damage to them. Blood Lightning plus Bloodlust. Yeah, that's a good combo. Okay, but, okay, I have played Ball Lightning in a standard, like, I think it was about 13 years ago I played Ball Lightning in standard, because there was literally a good mono red deck at the time in standard. Do not attack into a creature with first strike. That's all I'm going to tell you. The trample is deceptive. It doesn't matter. Attacking with a 6/1 into a 2/1 first striker was very eye-opening, to say the least. What happens is you just lose your Ball Lightning for nothing, and you get nothing out of it. Yeah, it's a big woof if you attack into a first strike card. I don't like it. Okay, next super chat. We've got Rob with 500. Oh, 500 yen. Love 500 yen. The most obscene and probably played card of the Dark, Blood Moon. So first off, I would say the ball lightning has aged relatively well. It's been playable throughout Magic the Gathering's history. And some people play some jank deck cards out of it. It's like somewhere in the middle. It's not competitive by today's standards. But in the right format, right conditions, ball lightning is still good. Blood Moon. This is a card I'm pretty certain that if it were spoiled today, everyone would be calling for its banning. Red 2 generic enchantment. All non-basic lands are now mountains. Heavy light flooded across the landscape, cloaking everything in deep crimson. And you do pay a little bit of a premium, actually, a huge premium. The OG one from the Dark is like $90. Everything. Well, the other Blood Moon's around like 12 bucks-ish, and so on. Yeah, everyone's like, I hate Blood Moon. Some people hate Blood Moon so much that they've left Modern and went to go play Pioneer. So if you don't like Blood Moon, there is a competitive format out there that has no Blood Moons. Do whatever you want with your 5-color mana bases. Well, I have to admit, 5 colors is a bit difficult in that format. Do we have the color shifted version of Blood Moon? I think the closest you get is something like Back to Basics, which is blue 2 generic. Non-basic lands don't untap. In some cases, this is worse than Blood Moon because they just straight up don't untap. At least Blood Moon, you can tap your lands for red mana. So anyway, yeah, this one completely stood the test of time. Still played. It's like a tier 0 card. Shuts people down. Played in Legacy, played in Modern, played in any format that can play it. I actually don't know how playable it is in Vintage because who knows? Maybe Blood Moon is not that important because you have to deal with the Moxen instead. But yeah, really, really, really good. There's a Blood Sun. Yeah, they've made some more fixed versions of Blood Moon over the years, Blood Sun being one of them. Okay, next up, let's look at one from the community. Nameless Race. Christopher B trying to get Nameless Race up there. If I remember correctly, the artist like basically got inspiration of this card from like some sort of comic book or manga character. Okay, I'm gonna read just the Oracle text. Nameless Race for a black 3 generic. It's a star creature. Trample. As Nameless Race enters the battlefield, pay any amount of life. The amount you pay can't be more than the total number of white non-token permanents your opponents control, plus the total number of white cards in their graveyard. Graveyards. Nameless Race power and toughness are each equal to the life paid as it entered the battlefield. Reserve list card. It's got Trample. And it sees play nowhere. I didn't even know about this card until like someone brought up to light that the art is really close to some sort of anime character or whatever. Was it Zuko? Looks like Zuko. Yeah, I think it's Zuko from the Avatar. Yeah. There we go. There he is. Hold on. We found him. Oops, this is not what I wanted. Open image in new tab. There we go. So this is your Nameless Race, or at least what I don't know, is what the internet claims. You judge for yourself. The same thing or not? If anything, that also maybe borrowed inspiration from, was it Kino from Mortal Kombat? But this one looks close, like way closer, way closer. So that's what the Dark is also known for, potential plagiarism. Or it's very large inspiration. Or maybe Quentin Hoover is just a huge fan of the show. Just a huge fan, you know? Magic should sue? Which one got... Or was it the other way around? Was Nameless Race made first, and then the show was made later? I don't know. I actually don't know which one came first. Maybe Nameless Race was first. All right, next up, let's look at Penelope's super chat. Safe Haven. That came from the Dark? That is such an old card. I honestly thought this was a newer card. Okay, it's a land, pay 2, tap, remove target creature you control from the game. This ability is played as an interrupt. During your upkeep, sacrifice Safe Haven to return all creatures it has removed from the game directly to play. Treat this as if they were just summoned. Oh, sorry, it's it's worded poorly here. It says during your upkeep, sack it. So, but like you don't have to. The Oracle text says you may sacrifice Safe Haven. If you do, return each card exiled with Safe Haven to the battlefield under its owner's control. This card sees no play whatsoever. Not good. Completely stone use. I don't know. Does anyone play this card? Like in theory, it protects your creatures, but in practice, it's like it's a little bit more hassle than anything else. Safe Haven is a non-counter spell card. Yeah, sure. You say so, Diego. Oh, Kalantara's Leviathan. We need some, what is it called? What was that wizard? The Apprentice Wizard? Yeah, we need something to cast with that Apprentice Wizard. Alright, here is the 9-mana 10/10 Trampler. Seen in every bulk bin in my day and age. When I went through a bunch of like bulk cards at my local game store when I was like 13 years old, I saw a million Leviathans. And I always thought like, wow, this card looks pretty good, but there's so many of them here, it must suck. And you know, that was my I used to come from the Pokemon trading card game, and like if I looked through a bunch of bulk in the Pokemon trading card game, you know, I noticed that all the bad cards came up in multiples in the bulk bins. So like Leviathan was just showed up constantly. Yeah, it's the timmiest of Timmy cards. Worst on a non-equipment rune, so I don't know if what's that's in reference to. But anyway, yeah, Leviathan. Comes into play tapped. That's underwhelming. And does not untap as normal during your untap phase. Sacrifice 2 islands during your upkeep phase to untap Leviathan. Leviathan may not attack you. May not attack unless you sacrifice 2 islands during your attack. You need so many islands in play to make this thing do anything. And it doesn't even have Island Walk. Some Leviathan this thing is. Oh, is he flying? Maybe this thing is flying, right? Look, here's like, I don't know, some sort of thing on a bridge, and then the Leviathan is just floating in the air. Blue Devotion King, yeah, for a turn. True story. Okay, I do have your super chats in mind, but I will move between like public suggestions and super chats. Oh, so you have a Maze of Ith, huh? All right, Scoop. Yeah, exactly. See, they printed the answers to their devastating cards even back then. Yeah, it's a Leviathan. All right, what are we doing next? Fisher. This also came from the dark. Oh, by the way, Leviathan, super buzzer for Leviathan. It's basically dead on arrival. Did anyone use Leviathan? Like, did that ever show up in anything? I don't think so. All right, Fisher, red 3 generic. Target land or creature is buried. Oh, it's instant speed. That is not bad. That is way better than I thought it was going to be. I think even by today's standards, it would have to be like 5 mana. It's destroy target creature or land. It can't be regenerated. That, and for 5 mana, there's not a lot of instant speed land destruction. This might be the only one. That's a neat card. That's actually a really neat card. And you can destroy a creature, too. So anyway, yeah, that's probably... I think that's an underrated card nobody even knows about. Alright, with that, we're gonna go back to them super chats. Oh, hold on. Alpha Nerd had Breeding Pit. I'm gonna get back to you, Alpha Nerd. Did we do Breeding Pit? No, we didn't do... Oh, no, hold on. Was there... No, it was dark. Yeah. Okay, what do we have next? Tales of Deep Shadow. Blood Moon. Ooh, Goblin Wizard. What the hell is this? All right, Goblin Wizard. Okay, before we get to Goblin Wizard, we're gonna thank our sponsor today, FusionGamingOnline.com. You need Magic cards. They've got Magic cards, and they have singles, and you also pre-order March of the Machines. You can pre-order Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. You can get your Commander Masters, and you can also get March of the Machines, The Aftermath, if that tickles your fancy. But if the first place I look to buy my Magic cards is FusionGamingOnline.com, because not only does it support the show, you can also get 5% off when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. Save yourself some money and treat yourself. They have a lot of cards from the dark at FusionGamingOnline.com. So, you know, if you got any inspiration, if you need your, hold on. What's it called? Fisher! Go get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Your ability to play any deck, any format, any time you want. I'm going to start exploring Vintage soon. And by soon, I mean maybe in a few months. But eventually, because you can play Merfolk in Vintage. In theory, you can play Merfolk in any format. No guarantee that it actually works. But I don't want to buy into Vintage, because that's way too expensive. Instead, I'm just going to play test it digitally with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_PG2. Alright, Goblin Wizard. Them Gabos. Goblins. What do we got here? Red, 2 generic for a 1/1 goblin. Tap. I'm not even going to read this. Tap, you may put a goblin permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Why have I never heard of this card? And then you have red, target goblin gains protection from white until end of turn. It's actually pretty relevant these days, you know. Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, Solitude. It's pretty good to have pro-white these days. Okay, so, yeah, Goblin Wizard. It's a bit clunky, but, like, if you're a Goblin deck, I think you really want this card. You should try Old School 93, 94. There's no good blue deck there, in my opinion. I don't know. Or it doesn't look good. Not good enough for me. And if you're playing in a format with power, you might as well be playing Vintage, in my opinion. Aren't there goblins give everything haste, so it's somewhat usable? That's true. And all it is tap. So you play like turn 3, what, Goblin King? I think Goblin King gives haste, and then you go turn 4 Goblin Wizard, and then boom. You got goblins all over the place. The 1/1 creature though, a little puny, a little pathetic. I'm gonna assume, based on the price of Goblin Wizard, this thing still sees play today. It's like $66. And you know those tribal players, they're crazy. They're crazy about their tribal. So I mean, if there's a reserveless goblin that they need, and this is a pretty good one, yeah, they all gotta get in on it. I don't think there's any merfolk like that. There's like River Merfolk, Vidalia Knights. Those are pretty garbage merfolk. Not many important merfolk that are reserved. War Chief into Wizard into Muxus. You got the idea, Tommy. You got the idea. So Goblin Wizard combos with Maskwood Nexus, then you can put any creature on the field for free. Take that to the bank, people. Get your Maskwood Nexuses with your Goblin Wizards. Alright, next up, we've got Marcelo with Mind Bomb. So what, is this card going to bomb? It is from the dark. Alright, blue. Sorcery. Each player may discard up to 3 cards. Mind Bomb deals damage to each player equal to 3 minus the number of cards they discarded this way. I'll just take the 3 damage, thank you very much. You can discard up to 3 cards. Yeah, I'll just take the 3 damage. Card sees no play these days. Mark Tedden was, like, basically commissioned to do the whole set. He did Leviathan, he did Mind Bomb. Man. He did anything that resembled a brain, too. He loved that brain thing. He likes brains and tentacles, hence why he was in charge of Emrakul the Ions Torn, the most big brain, tentacly card in all of Magic the Gathering. That thing sees some play in it. Are you serious? Oh god. I mean, I guess they gotta scrap some stuff together. There's just not much to use in 93, 94. Key card in Reanimator old school. All players may Oh, it's like a looting. That's true. This card is actually way better than I first gave it credit for. I mean, by today's standard, it's still crap. But, like, you know, I can understand for a 93, 94 format. You got to get some cards in the graveyard. Mime Bomb has got you covered. Yeah, you just, it's like Careful Study in some ways. Except it's all discard, no draw. No draw, all discard, all downside. I think we have gone through all the even half-playable cards from this set. Maybe. It's all downhill from here. Okay, Eco with Preacher. Stall creatures in white. All right, then. All right, so for a white, 1 generic, we have a 1/1 human cleric. My god. This is what it looked like. Where do they get this from? They, like, cut this out of a comic book or something? This is Quentin Hoover. Quentin Hoover loved them comics, I tell you what. Okay, so Human Cleric, you may choose not to untap Preacher during your untap step. Tap for as long as Preacher remains tapped, gain control of target creature of an opponent's choice they control. What are they trying to insinuate here? You're a Preacher, you have mind control over the people, over the masses? Like, what's the flavor supposed to be? It's like a cultist or something? Honestly, the art for Preacher is great. We could use more cartoon art into this game. This is what the Evangelize references. Hoover, damn! The art style is iconic. It always reminds me of Trask from the X-Men comics. Same time period and all. Poxy's like, this is an AI card. Before the AI was even invented. Okay, well, okay, this, as far as I'm concerned, this card sees no play. It is a reserve list card at $50. That's a lot of money. $50 for this damn thing. Okay, you guys are trying really hard to get Uncle Istvan on here. Uncle Istvan. Let's look up Uncle Istvan. We got black, 1 generic, 1/3 human. So we gotta look at the OG, though. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Uncle Istvan by creatures. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. However, 4 mana for a 1/3. It's like 4 mana for a 1/3 true name nemesis of sorts. If it was a 3/3 creature, it'd probably be pretty strong, but as it is, it's just not very good. But you know, we all love our Uncle Istvan. Alex is like, woo, love Uncle. Hell yeah, Uncle Istvan. Oh, the flavor text. Okay. Let's look up the flavor text. Solitude drove the old hermit insane. Now he only keeps company with those he can catch. Yeah, and they're all dead. And then he'll keep company with their skull on his axe. He reminds me, Uncle Istvan reminds me of, what's the dwarf from Lord of the Rings with the big beard? I don't remember. I'm a sham to the Lord of the Rings community. Okay, moving on. We've got Chris Ross, huge super chat. Thank you so much. The Dark is from 1994. Avatar: The Last Airbender is from 2005. Nikachu, I will let you decide who copied who. All right. Quentin Hoover is the original inspiration. It sounds like, yeah, either the Hoover family or Magic the Gathering might be able to claim some copyrights on Avatar: The Last Airbender. But maybe they don't want to ruffle too many feathers. Maybe they want to make a Avatar: The Last Airbender Secret Lair. And it would be a little awkward to request... Well, I don't know. Or maybe they just need to steal their rights back. I don't know how that would work. Okay, King Ginger, City of Shadows. Thank you very much for the super chat, King Ginger. Again, one of those lands that has activated abilities. Oh, but it does add mana. All right, tap, exile a creature you control, Put a storage counter on City of Traders. Sorry, City of Shadows. That sounds terrible. Oh, God. I have to exile my own creature? Tap, add colorless for each storage counter on City of Shadows. Oh, but it's permanent. And it's a reserve list card. This card's wild. This is a really wild card. So basically, like, if people start wiping out your creatures, you could just be in response City of Shadows. It's like, it's going to be gone anyway. And then it just progressively adds more and more mana over the course of the game. Sacrifice one of your creatures, but remove it from the game instead of placing it into your graveyard. You got it. You can exile... Oh, yeah, you can exile token creatures. That's a pretty sick line, too. Yep. We looked at fish already. What other combos do you have with this card? I like this card! I don't know if anyone plays this card, but I like it. I didn't know this card existed. It sounds like a fun type of card to put in your commander deck. But anyway, I'm assuming this doesn't stand the test of time. I could be wrong. Like, I've never heard of this card. I'm a pretty competitive player, so like if I've never heard of this card at all, then that means there must be something wrong with it. I mean, you obviously have to. It's not gonna add mana immediately, so you need, under the right circumstances, it works. Wouldn't mind that card for my proliferate deck. That's right. You just need to add one, and then you start adding them proliferate counters on it, and boom, City of Shadows dealing a lot of damage. And by damage, I mean it adds a lot of mana. Eric with the super chat. Season of the Witch. We did look at this one already. If you ain't scaring grandma, are you really playing MTG the way it was meant to be? Yeah, look, getting back to this card, that's got to have scared a lot of people. A lot of parents were like, oh my god, this is a demonic game. Look at the eyes in that background. Can't be having our kids be playing this game. No, no, no. Time to throw all these things into the bonfire. I never experienced this, but did anyone experience their cards getting thrown away because they were satanic? I did hear that happen to a lot of people. And it didn't help Magic the Gathering that everything had pentagrams and Satanism and vampiric this and, you know, wasn't really helping their cause. But, and I guess Wizards realized, well, maybe this game would be a little bit more profitable if we moved away around these, yeah, the unholy rituals and stuff. Your unholy rituals got pitched. I even heard some families said, okay, you can play Magic the Gathering, but you can't play with, like, they were restricted to, like, only, like, the holy cards. Like, they had to play White Angels or some crap like that, so. Yeah, I didn't think of it at the time, but, you know, Alpha, Beta, the Dark. Didn't really help build a relationship with, you know, some of the more, I don't know, how do I put it? Like, basically, the religious crowd. Is that why angels are so popular? Yeah, maybe. Maybe they're so iconic and popular because it was all that you're allowed to play. If your family threw away all the demons and the devils. And you're like, damn it! Can't play with those things. Anyway, that's a good theory. At least angels get a healthy amount of cards. They do, even by today's standards. Yeah, Mom, Timmy's playing with pentagrams again. Shut up! Gotta hide your pentagram card. I heard that also. A lot of people had to hide their pentagram cards and stuff like that from their parents. It's too bad. Did they bring the pentagram back? Hold on, what is maybe I shouldn't show it. Look it up because it's not on. It's not the Dark related, but whatever. I'm just curious if they brought the pentagrams back. It's like, well, F it. You know, we've won. Wizards don't care anymore. Okay, Marcelo. Thank you very much for the super chat. Fasting is the best. Too much value in one card. Oh, is this what I thought I saw something earlier from Christopher, you know. Yeah, Christianity, fasting. Fasting is also a good thing. I do a lot of intermittent fasting myself these days. A lot of people say, Nikachu, you've lost a lot of weight because I've taken up intermittent fasting, and it works really well. I lost like 25 pounds in 2 months, and I haven't really lost anything since, but I lost that 25 pounds, damn it. All right, fasting for a white enchantment. You may choose to skip your draw phase. If you do so, you gain 2 life. If you draw a card for any reason whatsoever, fasting is destroyed. Well, that's not good news. Oh, where's the sound effect for this? During your upkeep, put a hunger counter on fasting. When fasting has 5 hunger counters on it, it is destroyed anyway. So you be screwed. Why would you want to skip your draw step for 2 life? Gaining life is the weakest mechanic in all of Magic the Gathering. Drawing cards is one of the strongest. You are exchanging the strongest for the weakest, making this probably the only thing that you could do to make this card worse is probably make it cost more mana. Even at 0 mana, it would be useless. No one wants to play with this damn thing. So, yeah, this card deserves a buzzer, really. This card is so damn bad. Necropotence was Ice Age. Oh, you're screaming at fasting? Yeah, probably. Necropotence is the opposite of fasting. You're exchanging cards for life. Or, sorry, exchanging life for cards. Yeah, that's right. That is true. True story. Fasting was on Nizahone's worst 1-drops ever, and it definitely deserves to be on that list. Can we please go over Fire and Brimstone? Might be the worst white card ever, and it's only in the dark. Fire and Brimstone. More references, or more religious references. White, 3 generic, instant. Fire and Brimstone deals 4 damage to target player and 4 damage to you. Can only be used during a turn in which target player has declared an attack. You declare an attack, well, we're gonna Fire and Brimstone you to death. So it does 4 damage to target player. If you're really desperate for burn cards, I guess this works. This is just a really expensive version of, there's a red card that does this. It's just basically, but deal 4 damage to both of you for 2 mana. It's in modern. I don't remember what it is though. Yeah, but in white, this is useless. And at 5 mana, it's also useless. It's pretty crap. Absolute crap. All right, next up we got Gareth. Gareth, thank you very much for your super chat. We got Tividar's Crusade, old school sideboard tech. Tividar. I don't even know who Tividar is. There's 2 Tividar cards. They brought Tividar back. Okay, we got Tividar's Crusade. White, 1 generic. Destroy all god. Whoa! Whoa! This card actually looks useful. I'll give it a pass. It's just very narrow. I mean, it does what it wants to do. And for 3 mana, it's a one-sided board wipe versus the Goblin decks. Yeah, Goblin hate. And hate it does. Thank God a card like this doesn't exist for Merfolk. Or not that I know of. No one's ever, like, sideboarded that in against me. This is the hate of all Goblin hate. Yeah, dang screw red. Who would have Destroy All Merfolk? I guess red would have that type of card. Yeah, curse you, Goblin player. Did they even have many goblins back then? I swear they had, like, I don't know. They had as many merfolk. They had as many goblins as they had merfolk. It's not like there was any, or I don't know how many goblins there were. I don't think there were many. Yeah, it's a doable sorcery. That is a doable sorcery. Summer Mermaid Star, Electric Eel. Is that a real card? It is from the dark. All right, we got a blue eel, red, +2/+0, electric. So let's go with this Oracle text. When electric eel enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to you. You get shocked and zapped in the face. And then red. Electric eel gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and it deals 1 damage to you. Again dealing more damage. I can take damage all day, as long as you take 2 damage. I have no comment on this card. This card sees absolutely no play by today's standards. It's not terrible, I guess, at the time, but you had to be in blue-red. He has under... Yeah, that's underwater fire breathing. And it's more expensive than fire breathing. Fire breathe underwater. I didn't even think about that, Poxy. It's sort of... Well, I guess it's electrical fire breathing. It's gonna spew electricity at you. Eel breathing. I like that one. That's a cool one. The first is it? Is it? Maybe it is. Electric eel might have been the first is it card. At least in the color pie. This creature synergizes with deep water, says Meldier. Alright then. Anyway, the card is garbage though. Did not stand the test of time whatsoever. Okay, we got Barracat. Thank you very much, Barracat, for your super chat. Yeah, we get... can we break Apprentice Wizard? Does anyone know how to do it? So this is the card that we started the show off with. So we looked at started the show with Apprentice Wizard. It's a mana dork. You know, could you ramp into this? Imagine someone playing like turn 1 Black Lotus Apprentice Wizard, which I'm sure was a play at the time. Some Timmies back then definitely took that play. And then they're like, well, now I have 3 mana for forever. Just have to pay a blue for it. Maybe some people later. These comments have nothing to do with this one. Triton Tactics and Elite Arcanist. Play with an untapper. I don't know if any untappers existed back then. Anyway, okay, moving on with Tim Kellaway. Dust to Dust. I thought you were about to say all is dust. A lot of dust cards. Oh, that is a dark staple. All right, white, 1 generic sorcery. Removes 2 target artifacts from the game. That's pretty good. That is not bad. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Turvish never noticed that the amulet had vanished. It had disappeared not only from his possession, but from his memory as well. That's a very playable card, especially in Commander. No one would play this in competitive Magic. It's a little too expensive. We got Force of Vigor for crying out loud. We don't remove them from the game, but yeah, Dust to Dust is great. I can imagine this is very good in Commander. Take out your Soul Ring. I'm also going to take out your Soul Ring. Whose Soul Ring I'm going to remove here? Probably there's better things to take away than people's mana, but, you know, like everyone loves artifacts. Especially if you're me. Welding Jar Weeps does it. Can't you just, like, crack Welding Jar immediately? Okay, Vagilis Fear, Worms of the Earth. Is that a Pauper staple? Is that a common? It is legal in Pauper, you're right. It's a Pauper sideboard card. I had no idea. Great card. Good against those artifact decks. Worms of the Earth. Why is this guy bending down so much? Alright, we got black. 2 generic. For a enchantment, no new land may be brought into play. During any player's upkeep, any player may destroy Worms of the Earth by sacrificing 2 lands or taking 5 damage from Worms of the Earth. So basically, okay, no more lands are allowed to be played by anybody. At the beginning of each upkeep, any player may sack 2 lands or have Worms of the Earth to deal 5 damage to that player if a player does either destroy Worms of the Earth. What happens if you combo this with World Fire? So you World Fire, and then with Mana Floating, play Worms of the Earth. Is the game just... Do you just, like, deck people? Because everyone's at, like, 1 life. And no one's allowed to have any more lands in play. Anyway, it's part of the reserve list, but it also looks like crap. 5 life? Pfft, not hard at all. Not hard at all. King Ginger with Cleansing. Boros Panza or something. Alright, we got Clean the Land Clean. Alright, white. All land is destroyed. Players may prevent cleansing from being from destroying specific lands by paying 1 life for each land they wish to protect. Effects that prevent or redirect damage may not be used to counter this loss of life. Let's just destroy each land, unless the player pays 1 life. That is not Armageddon. That is the opposite of Armageddon. This is complete crap. This is Armageddon at home, basically. Worldfire hits enchantments you want to decree. No, that's why I'm saying you play Worldfire first, float the mana, then play Worms of the Earth afterwards. You gotta float the mana, people. You gotta float the mana. Oh, we got Tim. Oh, you love this. You love the dark, Tim. You're a huge fan. Stone Calendar. Hitting life totals with this looks good. You mean like with the last one with cleansing? I guess. I mean, I get like some people are gonna like lose some life, but I don't think it's gonna be that bad. What if neither player can pay life? Oh, that's an interesting idea. So what, you have some card in play that says players can't pay life? That's cool. Yeah, and then you're just cleansing everything off the board. Kaboom! Kablamo! Alright, Stone Calendar. 5 generic for an artifact. Spells you play cost up to 1 less to play. From the dark. This looks good! I think this stands the test. This just looks like a good card. Spells you cost because 1 less to cast. Casting costs of spells cannot go below 0. Well, it's not like you're gonna net mana. Pay Tormod's Crypt. I get a mana. Because what's negative? It's positive. So, yeah, anyway, Stone Calendar is a very bizarre card. Didn't know exist. Okay, a lot of people are saying Frankenstein's Monster. Cheat in an artifact deck and make everything cheaper? Absolutely. Frankenstein's Monster. Black X for a 0/1 zombie. Apparently. As Frankenstein's Monster enters the battlefield, exile X creature cards from your graveyard. If you can't, put Frankenstein's Monster into its owner's graveyard instead of onto the battlefield. For each creature card exiled this way, Frankenstein's Monster enters the battlefield with a +2/+0, +1/+1, or +0/+2 counter on it. Interesting. Anyway, I think it's absolute garbage, though. Don't know why anyone would want to use this. I guess it's iconic. It's like a $15 card. Hey, Garrett says 420 is the real stoned calendar. There, truth. Pinoy, Bitcoin analysis. I'm assuming that says Bitcoin. Skull of Arm from the dark. Well, it's all supposed to be dark cards anyway. Skull of Arm. Skull Arm, maybe? Skull of... Oh, Orm! Skull of Orm! Yeah, what a hell of a skull it is. What a beautiful skull. Okay, we got a 3 generic artifact, pay 5, tap, bring 1 enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. It's not bad, but it's not great either. It's like, it's play, like, if you really want to play if you're in Battle Cruise or Commander, I guess you could use it. I mean, you can play this card. It's not the greatest card, though. Pretty clunky card, overall. What does Eco say? Witch Hunter is weird. It bounces and pings in white. The Hunter of the Witches. If you had religious parents, they were probably high on this card. Yes, you can hunt the witches. Okay, we got white, 2 generic, a 1/1. Human Cleric. Tap Witch Hunter, deals 1 damage to target player. White, 1 generic. Tap, return target creature and opponent controls to its owner's hand. Return target creature and opponent controls. That's not terrible. Well, let's look at the dark version. Return target creature and opponent controls from play to their owner's hand. Enchantments on target creature are destroyed. It's actually an amazing card. What an amazing... I don't know if it's broken, but, you know, like, 4 mana and pay 3, just bounce something. Just pass the turn up. We can't leave. We've got a bunch of super chats. We got to get through them super chats, people. Okay, what do we got next? Witch Hunter is interesting. I think it's underrated. Did we do Stone Calendar? Yeah, we did it. But we didn't do Festival. Thank you very much for the super chat. Tim Calloway. You're a big fan of this set, I'm guessing. Just literally Festival. It's for a white instant. Opponent may not declare an attack this turn. They have the option to not play this during opponent's upkeep phase. Cast the spell. Okay, as worded right now, it's pretty stupid. Like, okay, you have the option to not attack me. Use it wisely. When they always had that option. But anyway, okay, so the Oracle text is cast the spell only during an opponent's upkeep. Creatures can't attack this turn. So you're forcing them. Oh no, do you know what? It's that opponents may not declare. Yeah, it shouldn't say may not. It should just says opponent can't declare an attack this turn. May not is a very bizarre card. Yeah, white fog. So does everyone have a fog? Green has fog. Darkness is a fog. Festival is a fog. Is there a blue and red fog? Yeah, drunk AI before drunk AI existed. It's the AI that went back in time to make actual Magic the Gathering cards. It started the game, damn it. All right, next one we got Brian F with a huge super chat. Oh man, I wish I caught this stream from the beginning. I'm currently working on assembling the whole set because I love the flavor and art. Also very nostalgic for me and kind of cheap. It's not that expensive. I think maybe one of the more expensive cards is like Blood Moon at $80. Okay, you guys all talking about Amnesia. Amnesia this, Amnesia that. All right, we can't end the show unless we talk about Amnesia. Oh god, it's that one with the hole in the head. Okay, blue, 3 generic sorcery. Target player reveals his or her hand and discards all non-land cards. Except okay, this is what you use the Apprentice Wizard for, I guess. You ramp into Amnesia, because like, at 6 mana, they don't have any non-land cards left in their hand. They're all gone. They've been all cast. Eric says, got the whole set for $700. Alright, well, that's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed that. Little trip back down memory lane. Frankly, it's the first time I went down this set. I mean, this whole bunch of cards I don't even know existed. Noel says, there is a difference between not declaring an attack and creatures cannot attack this turn. In the new wording, that would mean that attack triggers would still trigger. Yeah. As they all do. But the way it was worded before, it's like, you may not attack. It's like you give them the option to attack or not, when really they can't attack. But attack triggers always happen, even if you can't attack. Alright, people. If you want to be part of the show, if you want to see it live, you got to be here 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday to Friday, 11. Be there or be square, as the Coffee Crew does. Thank you very much for your support. Everyone who supports the channel through Super Chats, or you're a member on YouTube, or a patron on Patreon, I really appreciate it. And because of that, I show up every morning for all of you. But the most also equally important, I don't want to, you know, I want to keep the financially supporting people up there. We got to thank everyone who shows up in the morning. People like Summer, Mermaid Star, Rot Boy, Poxy, Erlin, Mr. Deadhead, Monster CC showing up right there in the end. King Ginger, Brian F, David, Abzo, Meldier, because you guys, without all of you, I'd have no show. So as usual, my Coffee Crew, keep brewing up them coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.